Okay, g'day. Welcome everybody to another Agentics New Zealand Hackerspace chat. Today's a special one. We've got some special guests. We've got Perttu from Finland. Greetings. He joins us from the Agentics chapter in Finland, which you may or may not have kept up with, but it really took off in a big way. And so really excited to hear about what Perttu's got to say today. He's going to show us some cool stuff, and also on the similar note, Marc Vincent up in Auckland is going to share with us some highlights from the recent Finland takeover of the Global Agentic Foundation Hackerspace a couple of weeks back. So that's pretty cool. And also, Berend is going to show us somehow he's managed to squeeze AWS into his laptop and show us Lambda on there. So I'm not quite sure how he figured that one out, but I'm keen to see how he did it. So yeah. Without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Perttu to tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, thank you. I'm kind of truly AI agentic engineer because I'm building something that I don't personally review. I didn't have anything to present yesterday, and then I kind of hacked my way to do the orchestration, and then it built something, and let's see what it actually have built. I have been playing with the AI for the last 3 years, and my dream is to let the AI to do the work I'm doing. So basically teaching AI to work as a senior software engineer. And what I have built, this is my 5th iteration of the orchestration, is that I write the intent file. Maybe I share the screen here if I can. I write an intent file, and from that intent file, the AI would split the intent into stories and stories into tasks, and then it would go and implement the tasks.
Yep.
I need to reopen because I don't have the... 1 second, I will join back.
So it's pretty early morning in Helsinki right now.
Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah, it's like 8 o'clock, I think, in the morning.
Yeah, right. About 12 hours different. Eh?
He sent me a picture earlier of the snow he's got. He's back. And he's on mute. Hey, buddy, turn the mute off.
Okay.
There he is. Hey.
Now this is the typical thing when you present something, you notice that, hey, I didn't give the permission to share my screen. So this is it. Yesterday, I just left this screen so it's easier to you guys to see. So basically, I just cloned the Guildhall project. Then I installed my OpenExec client, which did something. And here it kind of describes how I can use my orchestration. My plan is to release this as an open source project. And Chris, you have seen the kind of previous iteration, what I have used to use, which I have used to actually build working products. So basically, I initialize it, and this is what I did here. It asks me that what executor model I want to have, and it uses now the CLI versions. I haven't yet used the API, but the support is there. And then what I typically do, I review all the code, what the AI does. And I have found out that when I use Claude to code, I need to use the GPT to review it because GPT does much better job in the reviewing. So after the initialization, I had this intent file ready. I just copied it here. And then I said that, hey, please generate the stories from this intent. And then it started to do this, that it kind of breaks it into the stories. And it did already a review for this intent finder, because I found yesterday evening in the video which was shared in the general chat that the kind of the path forward is to tell the AI what my intent is. And this is what I try to do here.
Right.
And I don't do this. It will split into these stories, but they don't interconnect. It has kind of several parallel components which doesn't necessarily talk to each other. And this is kind of the biggest revelation for me, what I'm trying to practice, that how I relay my intent, what is that I'm actually trying to build, whatever the app is, that what is my ultimate goal, so it would go and kind of try to find its way there. And it generated the stories. Then I kind of import the stories to be executed. And here I can see what stories it has generated. And here my task or my intent was, I explained that, hey, I have this nice build hold project. Please make it something that I can run in my local. So these were the tasks created, that it needs to create this Docker environment, and the container needs to be something that can be also pushed into production. And then finally it did some tests. And this is what I left running when I went to sleep. And then in the morning I said, oh, it has seemingly nice kind of implemented everything it has had there in the stories. I didn't actually review what stories and tasks it had. And then
How long did the build run for?
I don't know. I didn't have the timer, but I would say that it will take like few hours.
Mm.
In the previous orchestration, I did build this Dropbox kind of native macOS app with Rust, and it took one night to build. So I just write the story that, hey, I want to have a Dropbox, but instead of using the Dropbox, I want it to be a native app and use S3 as the backend. And then in the morning, I woke up and I just typed open cloudsync.app, and I had my own Dropbox. So basically,
Very good.
we are truly going into this nice era that AI builds something and you just review, and then it's more like, hey, what I told it to kind of build, that did it actually do it? How I need to change my intent in order to have something I want to have. So for me, this is really kind of an execution layer, that how the things are built. And then in the morning, half an hour ago, I just typed Docker Compose up, and I had the front end in the Docker container.
Nice.
Wow.
So is this your own orchestration kind of framework?
Yes.
Brilliant.
I have built it from the scratch, basically.
Yeah.
So what?
And the plan is that I will share this as an open source, so you all can see it, and then it will be much easier to discuss it.
Yeah, nice.
But you were saying this is your 5th iteration of the orchestrator, right?
Yeah. Last summer, I had my first iteration, and then I built my kind of poor man's Lovable. In console, I typed that, hey, please build me a to-do app, and that it did that already in the summer, but it only ran in console, and in autumn, I had a version that I could run in a web browser. And early in January, I had something that built the Dropbox app. And
So-
I have used this to actually build working websites like a freelancer.com clone.
So there's no Claude code or anything like that as such. This is all running in the terminal, and you're just using your, you're using Opus or Sonnet subscription to do the processing.
It's currently executing the Claude code or Gemini or the Codex version.
Yeah.
But what I yesterday realized that I have been so inefficient. You guys might think otherwise, but in my point of view, that if I want to optimize the token usage, I need to replace the cloud code and build my own kind of open code, so I can build all the caching and tool calling. And when we think about that, everybody is bragging that how many lines of code AI builds, or that this is the amount of token I used. We should actually think about what is the minimum amount of tokens we should use to actually build something workable.
Yeah.
What's the cost of running this whole thing?
Well, I'm using this kind of a subscription, so it's cheap in that way. But the problem with using these clients is that they hide the information how many tokens they are actually using. But when I will switch into the API usage, I can actually do the calls, so I could get the estimates how many tokens would be used to execute some commands. So then I could actually kind of get the list that how much is the cost to build a kind of a Guildhall project using API. And if I switch from Cloud Code to my own open base or something, I can switch between the models, and I can use Kimi or GLM instead of Claude, or I can use my own local LLM to build. Because that is my ultimate goal, to have this process so that I don't need to use these foundation models, but I can run it with my local GPU.
Yeah.
So
You would run out of your max, right? I mean, hey, like 5 agents at once. That's sort of, and then you hit your max subscription. So how many do you run at once?
1. I don't run in Swarm because in my workplace we got this ISO 27001 certificate, and I kind of mimicked the process here. So this is ISO 2711001 compatible process. So when you have a story and you have tasks, and then when you have a commits, you can track what commits are related to what task, and what fix are related to what tasks. And when the reviewer does the review, you can actually store the audit report that what the reviewer said.
Yeah.
So this does much better work than what I have done as a software engineer, and I have been doing this for 26 years because it follows the process.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting point, though, about the auditability and the ISO accreditation around it. And I guess it does raise a question around parallel agents and being able to attribute the work.
Yeah, and that hopefully removes the friction what people think that AI does a bad job by coding, when you increase the transparency and when you have the guardrails and this standard operation procedure, so that how it should execute, then it should actually do a better job than humans, because the quality what it produces is a stable one.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, I agree. That's good.
Hey, I wonder, just kind of wanting to understand the human touch here a little bit. So, like, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to this place?
Yeah, so short version is that I graduated back in 2000 and I got my first computer back in 1986. So I have been working with the computers for a while, and I started as a software engineer and then went from there to the back end and then DBA and then all this DevOps and cloud architect stuff. And then a few years back, I studied data science because I have built so big projects and I really wanted to understand that what is happening underneath the hood. And when I got into the data science part, this was the time when AI started to hit off. So it kind of combined my knowledge what I used to have to the AI world, and then I got this idea that hey, I want to put AI do all my work so I can retire. So it might be sooner than later. And when the Agentics Finland opened up in, was it October, we instantly got like 1,000 members in a WhatsApp group. So the
Amazing.
WhatsApp group went full really fast. So there we started to kind of collaborate with each other, and kind of the best learnings from there is that more you share, more you can learn. That what others are doing, you can kind of think about what you are doing and sharing, and then you get the kind of feedback. And I was there, and then when these Finnish guys were invited to this event a few weeks back, I then joined there, and there we had a Chris presenting the Guild Hall, and I was amazed. Oh, this is so cool! This kind of gamification system that I want to copy this to myself. So I cloned the repo, and after a few hours, I had this running in my local. And I had given that to my orchestration, and then I showed this to the Chris that, hey, have you seen this? That can I hijack your project and run it in my local?
And
this is how I ended up here.
You converted it to Python.
Yes.
Cool, man.
So it's so amazing that you can give any open source project to the orchestration and it can rewrite it in your own language, whatever you want. You can take any research paper from Google Scholar and give that to the orchestration and say, build a demo for this. You can take, if somebody describes an idea, you can take that, or you can take any startup's white paper and give that, and it will build a working product. So we are truly in an era that you can basically build anything you want. And you don't need to have any technical skills to do it.
There was a really really funny post on LinkedIn and of a guy in one of the other Agentics groups, and I think is it Pascal, one of those, or Francie. And anyway, so a guy posted a screenshot of a like a system monitor app that he made for his Mac, right? And so it's sitting there in the tray, and he's saying, hey, I made this cool system monitor. I'm thinking about open sourcing it. Hit me up in the DMs if you're interested. And then Francie replied basically saying, but you just open sourced it. I mean, you've just given us a screenshot. That's enough. And then he posted his own screenshot of the thing that he'd built based off the screenshot. And so then there's this comment interaction, and then they're like, oh, but I love how you did that, and I'm going to add that to my one. And then so they're building, having like this pair programming thread going on LinkedIn based off a screenshot. I thought it was just so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, the pace will be so fast that how fast we can do things.
Totally. Yeah. It's crazy to try and think what's going to happen, right? The SaaS apocalypse is the first.
Apocalypse, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have another story. I did build a project for my friend 3 years ago. We built an app for a sport, and it costed like 70,000 euros. Few weeks back, my friend, who is not a coder, who has a dyslexia, cannot read that much, doesn't have any concentration. It took him 2 weeks to build the same app that is actually better than what we built 3 years ago. And I'm a professional, and he is not. And he posted that in the LinkedIn from zero to coder, and he had an app that he can actually use. So people can go and execute what they have the plan, and the AI will help.
It comes down to intent, right?
Yes.
Ideas and intent.
Very cool. Very cool. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions for Perttu?
When are you going to open source it?
Hopefully very soon.
Awesome.
And my intent for this was to release it already, but I need to first build few projects before I can share it to you. I don't want to. There is this builder dilemma that when I use AI to build something and I run it local, I already have all the things in place, but I haven't validated that what it will require to do it as a fresh install. And when I have that, then I can kind of share it with you guys.
Well, I mean, I get a sense that perhaps Jason's already taken a screenshot and he's busy building it in the background.
Hopefully, that would be cool.
Hey, I wonder if we do a segue. Marc, have you got some highlights from?
So Perttu, the Finland Agentics takeover was pretty amazing. I thought I really enjoyed listening to what the guys are doing, what the team's doing. It blew me away. So what I've done is I've pulled out a segment and I wanted to share it, and it kind of talks about how the team's working together, and it talks about how they kind of arrived there and the whole working setup. So I'll just share that. The other thing I wanted to show is if people aren't already familiar, the Agentics, am I sharing? Yeah, the Agentics Foundation have this video website, video.agentics.org. And it has a recording of all of the hackerspaces and all the various presentations and things they've done. And they've run AI over it and the transcripts, and you can search it. So it's really a really useful resource. So I haven't tried this AI chat feature, but if you just search it, so it's coming back with the video. Now I've got it queued up. Now, if I change tabs, is it going to follow the tab? No. I'll go back to that tab.
Dad, can I call Mum?
Sure.
Are you fine?
It's all right. You can call Mum. It's all good.
Okay. Am I sharing audio?
No.
What's that?
No.
No. Okay. 1 second. Oops. Wrong button. I did it for me automatically last time.
Were you sharing the screen or sharing a window?
Just a window. So you find the right spot.
Run the widescreen mode.
Is that coming through okay?
Can see it.
Let's start. So
okay. So I'll start from here, and he'll take you through the journey of how they got there, and then follow up with how they're actually working now. I think it's super cool.
2 or 3 years ago, I was involved in research project, and the task that was given, or the mission that was given for that research project, was asking the small question that what will happen to the whole software development when AI comes. I was in that research project, it was actually done with a customer. So it happened with ISS Finland, service company. And we wanted to basically do a real project. And we ended up doing a ERP extension, so existing ERP. Long story short, we tested 120 AI tools. The latest that we tested at the time was Cursor. But then we realized something really, really interesting. No matter what tool we used, we can, it wasn't really about tools, because no matter how fast we were doing a activity, be that development, be that defining something, designing something, even pushing it out, the problem became always the kind of the next stage. So there seems to be queues in the process, no matter how you do it. If even you do your Scrum and sprints and whatnot, there's still queues. Meaning that somebody decides, let's do this, and there's a wait. And then somebody says that, okay, here's the design and architecture of it. And then there's the wait. And the wait can be a day, it can be a month, it can be anything. So actually the research question became how AI changes that. Not how it changes any activity, but how does it change the whole from end to end? And from one end being from idea and the other end being impact. And we pondered that and we tested that out with the customer, and what we ended up doing was that we had all the people across the value stream in single room working with AI agents, kind of agents. I mean, assisted AI at the time. Nowadays, it's gonna be swarms, right? So imagine that when you see something coming real, you get the business decision right there and then you move forward. So your decision speed goes like up from this, oh, I'm gonna give you feedback every 2 weeks, or I'm gonna give you a feedback one in a day, to I'm gonna give you feedback whenever you have something to show. And as we all know, probably at some level, that time is getting shorter. So when we measured that at the time, compared to that like 2-week sprints, your product owner, I mean, we didn't eventually ever even have that as a role, but we had it at the time when we were measuring, we started seeing like 500 times faster decision making. And that was kind of mind-boggling. And that's why I ended up writing a book, and that's why Collab AI. And I reached Joe Justice because I heard that, well, they are doing SpaceX, Tesla, that kind of thing at scale. So I wanted to learn that as well. And Joe was helping us in the Twin project. That was the research project. And then nowadays we are doing something quite interesting stuff at Aegeon. So I'm part of that, and probably that's something interesting. But yeah, I mean, I was just trying to make it somehow tangible, that I think that we are paying way too much weight on agentic coding and all the fancy tools that we have for that, and very, very little on how the whole can be agentic. Decision making, everything, like across the board.
So this next bit's cool. This is where they talk about how they actually work as an organization. So he's not just focusing on the actual development, he's talking about the whole organization and how they work together. And the next bit is how they kind of describe how they work together. It's cool.
And that's saddening me because there's so much skill. I mean, this group, there's so much skill, but there's so little talk about that. And I find it fascinating because I see a lot of potential. So, and that's why I'm here.
Can you Marco explain like how our days look like in Aegeon? Like because
Yeah,
our days look like
That's
nothing else. Like I think in our ways of working. So.
So I come in at some point. Coming in meaning I join our virtual session at Slack huddle. I start sharing my screen. I start my agent swarms. At some point, Rinsi comes in. You're gonna hear about Rinsi soon. Or Mikko joins, or somebody of the guys. And they see straight away what I'm doing. And instead of onboarding or sync up or anything like that, they're like, okay, so is that the thing that we were yesterday discussing? I'm like, yeah, that's coming up. Okay, what do you think I should start? I'm like, well, I have these couple of sessions here, but maybe you could start that. Okay, let me start that. And Teemu or somebody starts showing the other screen. So we have 2 screens up. All the agents working, and we are discussing about how we wanna what we wanna accomplish today. And that's all what we do. All day, every day. No meetings, nothing else. All the interruptions that we get is with our clients, and guess what we do there? The same thing.
Maybe you add also this like new feature that we added lately to our GAC system, which is basically our autonomous coding environment.
So yeah, they go on to say that they can feed into the swarms, and then like that humans can put a message in, and then the agents take that on board and factor that into what they're doing. So yeah, I mean, so I guess I find that fascinating. Is anyone here working in an environment where you have multiple people all using AI and swarms at the same time? Because I mean, I work as a solo kind of agentic developer. There's conversations, there's emails, there's documents, and then you work in isolation. But that vision is the kind of future of work, I guess. It's like, it's incredible.
I've never seen collaboration at of that. We have multiple people actually doing the work in that manner. Like very much, it's just been a Lone Ranger approach.
Yeah.
I don't think New Zealand companies are ready for this.
Yeah.
This is very
we
different here.
Start a company, right? Like, I mean, the traditional companies aren't, but what's to stop a bunch of agentic engineers and, a CEO who's got the right mindset to jump in and work like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
I'm looking at you, Jason and Mikael. I think you guys are probably the closest that we've got in New Zealand, and dare I say it, you're in this channel. So like, what maybe you'd have some insights about what it's like working for an agentic engineering company in New Zealand. Not to put you on the spot or anything.
He's gone to make a cup of tea. He said it's gone to think about it.
I think he's gone to have a stiff drink.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love that. I think that's amazing.
Was there did you have any other choice nuggets?
Oh, not really lined up, but I mean, I guess the background to all of this is that the Finnish government has, I think I got this right, have basically decided to go all in with AI, and so they've opened up the floodgates, I suppose, but at the same time they're keeping all the data completely separate. There's an agentic kind of interface where Mikko and the team are working, and I don't think the data ever crosses the line, so they can do all their agentic swarming, and then I guess the instructions cross the line and manipulate the data on the government side. But I think, I mean, for a government to be that progressive is incredible, and then look what the ecosystem that's spun up around it. It's cool.
Yeah, from what Mikkel's been saying, they're much more kind of aligned at an agency level. So they're really kind of, the data sharing thing isn't so much of an issue. It's like the data is there, it's centralized, and you can access it. And perhaps Perttu could probably put some phones and verify that if that's truly the case or not. But I mean, I know that they also have Sitra, right? And Sitra is funding a lot of that sort of transformation and acceleration across the sector. You're on mute.
Okay. Yeah, I think part of this that why our government is so open for all this AI and new stuff, because we have background kind of in open source. As you know, might know, Linux has been developed by the Finns or the MySQL or IRC things or Git and these kind of things. So we have kind of really strong background in open source stuff, and we have these initiatives to have open data endpoints and everything. So then the transition is not that big because you already have had the mindset shifted.
Fascinating.
You got foundations. Yeah.
Yes. And then we can have these stories Marc was describing, guys telling that, hey, we can communicate with the government, that how we could do things more efficiently.
So, Chris, you're deeply embedded within the New Zealand government, so it's up to you, mate.
Yep. We're gonna the social agency is going to change.
Yeah.
And ministry speed, mate. We'll get there. Hey, Jason, you were away, and I was dropping you in it, mate. I was gonna ask you, like, what's it like working for an agentic engineering company in New Zealand?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I don't know many people that are sort of doing what we're doing. I mean, there's a lot of people that are doing specific things, and I guess I was doing kind of like specific projects before I started this. But yeah, it's constant being exposed to different ways of working in AI, and I don't know, we're running into like specific problems in the orchestration. So yeah, I was hoping it like maybe it'd be cool to get more of like a deep dive, Percy, like how like your orchestration is actually working under the hood, like maybe later, or like when you make it open source. Because yeah, I'm really interested in it's just how people are overcoming some of the problems we're seeing. Like we're seeing things like with agents, they refuse to do what you tell them to do. So like there's a couple of things we're seeing across the board. They refuse to do what you tell them to do, and they lie. So I think Mikhail just joined again. The vast majority of what we've been working on is how do you get them to do what you told them to do? Because we'll have mechanisms that try to figure out, did you do what you said you did? Right. Most of the time, they didn't. You need at least 2 or 3 audit layers. And, you know, yeah, so that's kind of always been concerning ourselves with. And we also noticed that as you use, and I'm just kind of rambling here, but as you use the like Claude Code, for example, if you're really squeezing everything out of that with like agent teams or something, it will purposely start doing worse. It has to be on purpose, because we've noticed that it'll ignore you more and it'll lie more and it'll take more shortcuts.
Wow.
This is just some of the weird things we find. I'll stop rambling because I could sit there and talk all day like about some of the things we run into. But yeah, we work on like image models and like development, and what else we have, Mikhail? Like there's like take off QS's image, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I could go on and on, so I can't think of the top of my head.
But it's fun. It's fun.
As you were talking, Jason, what I was thinking was you were saying that the agents aren't doing what I told it to do, and what I'm thinking is maybe you're asking the wrong question.
Oh no. No. So we spend ample amount of time getting the exact directions, the exact plans. Like you can write a crystal clear plan, and when I say they're ignoring you, what I mean is I say use this skill. They don't.
Oh, right.
Or here's a big laid out plan. They ignore 90% of it. Or yeah, no, definitely not that. Okay. So I know that is the comeback that most people have, and that is true for most people. Like most people, when they get in and they start using it, it's like, hey, do this thing, and that's all. You don't give them context, you don't give them a plan. But no, we're noticing they just flat out ignore it. So then our sort of where we're headed with that is into like LangGraph. I don't know how many people here are using things like LangGraph, but it's so that we can control each step, right? Like, so like when you have like, here is a node within LangGraph that is not an agent, get an agent to do this very, very small thing and report back, and then move to the next step. So that's sort of like where we've been headed, is like controlling each step so that it has to do what you told it to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're using like frontier models. You're using Opus and things like that.
Yeah, we don't have any local stuff. Yeah, we're not using any local stuff that I'm aware of. But yeah, we can try different models. We've tried all of it. They all sort of do the same thing.
Jay, have you got your hand up?
Oh,
Yep,
so-
I did have a question. Did you guys try like rebooting the whole thing or giving it like a fresh start after it started disobeying your guidelines? And did that make any change?
Did you reboot it?
Oh yeah,
Did you turn it off and on again?
yeah. No, we tried everything. Reduced file sizes, context management, anything you can think of. Memory, working memory, rudimentary memory so far. It's not really like anything really impressive. But yeah, that whole ignore anything, and that's the thing. That's the thing too. Like I think what we've noticed is that if it's something simple, like if you say, okay, make me a tic-tac-toe game, it will do it to the letter. It will do it like, sure, here's a tic-tac-toe game, no problem. But when you start getting into really big code bases and it starts growing and expanding and getting bigger and bigger, that's when you start seeing these things really compound.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that working across existing code bases, or is that like greenfield?
Both.
Yeah, you're probably operating at a scale that I haven't touched because it sounds like a problem that I haven't come across yet.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. If anybody runs into that, if in the future you get a big code base, you start running into crazy things, it's like pretty much like LangGraph or something like LangGraph seems to be the only thing that I've personally found to get.
Have you thrown Ralph Wiggum at it? I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, that doesn't. It was someone was asking me that with that today. They're like, "What about Ralph?" One of the people we worked with. I said, "Have you ever heard the definition of craziness? The definition of insanity?" So that's basically Ralph.
Brute force.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I don't think we'd get invaded by the green aliens today, but clearly we've reached that level. Oh man, you're glitching out. That's creepy.
I can see one of my eyes actually closing without me closing it. Sometimes it does that. I don't know why. They're doing it again.
Oh dear. Right. Well, I think we've reached the third act, and so none other than Berend is going to show us how he squeezed AWS into his laptop.
I hope this works. Experiment. First time sharing from an Android tablet. Let's see how this goes. Share entire screen. Oh. I double check this. Nice.
We've kind of got a
What
bit of an
happens-
inception going on with the Google Meet.
Okay, yeah. Does this work? Can you see
Yep,
this slide?
that's
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah. Okay. So the only thing is it came at the wrong spot. But what I'm talking about is working with Lambdas, which people usually deploy in a CDK stack, and there are some issues with that. And I'm going to tell you what those are and what CDK is, because not everyone may know what that is. AWS Lambda is functions you run in the cloud. AWS function is input and output, usually JSON, and they scale up and down better than anything you can find anywhere else. So if you look at this slide, here you can see here in 10 minutes span, how fast can I launch Docker containers? 3,500 Lambda, it's just in 1 second. You could have them all running. And that takes much longer on any alternative out there. So that's one of the advantages. The other is cost. Lambda is dirt cheap, especially if you don't use it too much. At some point, if you use a real amount, then it might be cheaper just to run a container permanently. But for many use cases, it just costs nothing to run. So what are the differences between running Docker or TypeScript in Lambda versus any other methods you may know of? That is, the function is called and then pauses. Usually Docker containers keep running. That doesn't happen. The maximum runtime is 15 minutes, so your function has to return something in 15 minutes. The container itself also does not live longer than 50 minutes. So if it gets called, let's say 3 times in 15 minutes, the container is kept alive and you can cache things, but it will only run for the few seconds or less that you actually do something. That's the problem with that is you have to deploy and run this in the cloud. So the cycle modify, deploy, test is long, minutes. And there are a few methods out there which fix that, but mine works with plain CDK, and it gives you that fast feedback cycle because you simply run the Lambda local, but integrates completely with AWS. For those who don't know, CDK is a way to write CloudFormation stacks, which is Amazon's method to deploy cloud resources, a bit like Terraform, OpenTofu. So CloudFormation looks a bit like this. Not sure how visible this is, but it's simply a list of resources with functions in them. You write lambdas like this. Hey, you point it to some code. You tell how much memory the Docker container gets, what the architecture is, and how long it runs for a single invocation. So now we'll see if I can get a demo going. I need to find a terminal. Hey. That does something. It's not bad. Yeah. Cool. So I'll just start from scratch here. So to run this whole thing, you use a command line tool. I'm running this on the GitHub, but normally it's called local live lambda, and then you give the command local. What it does, it gets your CDK stack, spins it up, deploys it, replaces the real lambda code with sort of a bridge function, and then it tells you which ones are there. And then I can call it. So I'll do that here. Let's say I run this lambda function. I hope this is a bit visible. I can make it a bit bigger in case it's a bit small. Oops, it didn't work. I'm not quite sure. Okay, let's try it. Oh no, I have an extra thing here. No, this works. This should work. Yeah. So this sends a message to an AWS, supposedly a Lambda that runs in AWS, but actually it runs locally. As you can see here, if I switch simply back to my locally running Lambda, hey, there are my messages. And I can then, for example, edit the codes. So this one here, let's see the greeter. Hello. Make that there something. I'm saving that, which will then rebuild this thing. And let's run it again. And let's see if we get something. Okay, I feel we hit a bug. Let's try that again. That's a bit too slow. Yeah. And hey, you can see it, a response there. And now we get the dear Mr. Fu back here. And that's basically what this does. You probably need to use AWS to understand how useful it is. because lambdas are used in AWS for a great many things, in triggers, callbacks, a bit of an enterprise government level project would easily have a few hundred lambdas. Having the ability to have that fast feedback cycle, change locally, test, is very valuable for a person, but also for the AI, because obviously the AI can run this and also get that fast feedback. So let's see where we were. This here. Let's see. CDK, cloud formation. Yeah, something about how I build this. I built this, I think, around August, September. I started with a POC, just to see where if I could get something going. That didn't actually, well, it did produce code. No ADRs, Chris, sorry. So we just went, there we go. It went okay. I got the results, but it suffered a little bit from reward hacking in the sense, okay, yeah, it looked like it worked, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. For example, it modified Docker containers in order to make it work, and I wanted to run Docker containers unmodified. So we in December I started a second approach. So I wrote a detailed architecture plan. I thought, this should do it. Let's one shot this, basically one single session. That didn't actually work too well. So I think it was slightly too big for the AI at the time. So I had to do a few iterations to get where I wanted. Models I used Opus 4.1, 4.5 initially, pure Claude code still at the time. I think after September, open code became a lot more stable. So my workflow switched to planning in Claude. So I let it write a plan file and I feed it to open code, which implements it. That usually works faster, I have the feeling, than and I have my to-do list in Emacs org mode. That's probably very unique. Had no issues in GitHub or something, but that worked for me. So people may know this approach. There's a sort of a comparable approach service from the serverless team. That's the people who are now building. You know them as the builders of open code. They initially built SST, and version 2 is what still a lot of people use. But you have to write stacks, CDK stack, quite differently. So the advantage here is plain CDK. You just make two modifications to a standard CDK stack, and then you can run your lambdas locally. It's a bit clearer. Have it logged, belong to what requests, especially if there are quite a few lambdas and they all interact, it becomes hard. And I support Docker with Lambda extensions, which I don't think anyone does who has this kind of thing. So what I'm seeking is, for people to try this out and let me know if you like it or not, of what works and what doesn't. So let me end this presentation and see if I can get my video back. Okay.
You want to put that link into the chat?
Yep, I will. First need to see how we end the presentation here. No. Okay, this one here. Yeah. Stop sharing. Yes. I can't have video while I'm sharing. It's interesting. Yeah.
That's very cool, man. That's
I'll get that link. Yeah.
And so how have you put that to use? Has that just been kind of like an experimental project for you, or have you actually applied that in your work?
Yeah, so I'm building another project, which is the main thing. So this is hosted by my company, Process Focus, which builds a business process modeling tool.
Yeah.
And business execution, and which is also heavily AWS based. For that kind of thing. That's one of the examples. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I have been a bit of a loner since September because I'm focusing on building this product. I've worked in big enterprise before, big government, and it would have been very useful there. But we used SSD v2 there.
Awesome, dude.
Hmm.
Hey, well, the floor is pretty much open. We have some time to hang out and share what you've been up to. Is there anyone else who has anything they'd like to talk about or maybe showcase? What have you been doing, Marc? Have you been vibing up a storm, or are you just?
Yeah, kind of. Lately, I've been working on. Perttu's put me to shame though. Just been working on the kind of orchestration side of things, and I'm just straight Claude code with agent teams. And actually, I was inspired by a friend who's he's not all that technical, but he is just up to his neck in AI agents and things, and he's just building all sorts of crazy stuff. I do wonder that because he's not highly technical, he's actually more what's the word? He's almost less. He constrains himself less, and so he just goes for it and just he visualizes something and then just makes it happen. And he's not held back by kind of over analyzing things, and he's getting like really good results. And so his inspiration was he's built an organization with different skills. So he has an strategic advisor, which he's fed lots of management consultant information. He's got an architect and a security architect, and so he's got all these different personas, and he has them running, kind of for long cycles, building stuff for him. And he showed me that it looks really good. So I use that approach, and so using agent teams in Claude, just having the CEO who's the overall orchestrator, and then the architect and the senior dev and the QA lead, and having them kind of work together, and it seems to work pretty well. I've thrown Ralph Wiggum in there, and so and kind of putting lots of quality gates and kind of I guess mimicking a real organization and putting those quality gates and those reviews in, and then kind of creating feedback loops seems to work pretty well. So that's my latest kind of like tooling kind of creation.
But does that work? That approach?
Yeah, it does.
It produces code, right? But all these things, which are also important: performance, stability, security,
yes.
Architecture, ability to modify that later. If you don't know what code is or how to code, how do you handle it?
Well, that's it, and that's interesting. Like, because I'm a developer by trade, I guess, right? And I've done architecture and stuff. So to me, it feels quite natural, and I think I asked the right questions and kind of, put the right specifications in place. So I do wonder if someone that doesn't have that inherent understanding how they would and not end up with cross-site scripting vulnerabilities and this and that. So, but maybe that's where if you have the specialist like security architect, that they will. You'd hope that they would bring that to the table and draw on that skill set that's available to via the LLM to build that in. But yeah, don't know. So
well, we have a real example, right? I mean, I think it was Cloudflare. Didn't they build an authentication server with AI? And there was a guy who did a review on it, who was an expert in that field. So he could easily point out some basic errors there. So yeah. And it wasn't bad, but also wasn't wasn't exactly production quality. Yeah.
Oh, when was this though?
I'll see if
Recently.
I can find it for you. Yeah,
But you're right. I
a
mean, that's the
month,
big
6
concern,
months ago.
right? That you ship something that's got security vulnerabilities in it.
Yeah.
Perttu, I like the idea that you use a different model to review.
Mm.
You use GPT and you use use Opus and Sonnet for the bulk of it, and then you put GPT in there as a reviewer. That's cool.
Yeah, it does really good job reviewing.
Yeah.
And it's not just a review, but I also instruct it to tell what to fix and how. So it wouldn't do that many iterations without telling that how to fix. The Claude goes and fixes, and then the reviewer also says that it's not good enough. And then
Not good enough.
you have the endless loop.
Yeah. That's cool.
So I have these quality gates that you just described. So the process is kind of same, regardless what you do.
Yeah.
So the quality gates are kind of also the key ingredient there when you build things that you actually need to think how to validate and what is the feedback for the previous step in order to pass the quality gate.
The other thing that I've done is I've built the same thing several times. Like I build it once and then see how well it did, review it, build up the evals or the kind of the tests, and then run it again with those new evals and see if you get a better result the second, third time.
Yes.
You know?
You're improving your inputs each time.
Yeah.
Everything needs to be measurable and have the metrics kind of
Yeah.
to know where you are going to understand where it's failing.
I really like what you said about the auditability too, because the next thing I'm looking at is memory, and like, you know, if you can I mean, obviously Git does a pretty good job of it, but if you can record the rationale or the thinking that went for each step, and then you could almost audit exactly how the thing came together.
Yeah, and then it's also something you can measure and think about where I need to improve in order to improve the whole process. And it's no longer a black box, but something that is transparent.
Well, I
found that link, Mark. I put it in the chat. I think. Yeah, so that's basically. I mean, completely vibe code, and it does work, but it's not exactly.
Well, I guess that's always the fear with vibe coding, right? That you'll end up with something that is got flawed.
Depends. Yeah, well, depends on where you take it. If it has to be production quality, has to handle thousands or hundreds of thousands of customers. How do you even know how to prompt the thing to build it if you don't know what the problems are? I mean, if you are still an engineer, but other people,
Just for a little bit of fun, I thought I might show you what I've been up to, if that's all right. I'll unpin that one's still pinned. I've been playing with Claude Co-work and plugins. So kind of coming at it from more of a productivity and workflow side of things. And you know, a lot of people have been raving about Co-work, and I thought, well, what is this? And how can it help? And also, I've been kind of looking for a project where I can just play with deploying a plugin within Claude Code and just see what that gives us. And actually, it turns out that it can give us some pretty useful stuff. So let me turn my one on. We will do the share of the entire screen, and we're not doing audio. Okay, let's see. Can I make this go away? I don't want to close Meet. Sorry, we're going to have this little thing in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm sorry if that's distracting for people. Hopefully you can see my screen. Yes. So here's my little website. It's built off GitHub Pages. which is really quite cool. I don't know if you guys have seen GitHub pages, but essentially it just turns a repo into a website and you can theme it up. So that's quite fun. So a thing I built yesterday, I called it Die Test, which has turned out to be quite a convenient name. The person who inspired it, her name is Di, and I thought, well, let's do a test. And she is an accessibility expert. So she tests websites and makes sure they're accessible for people. And she had an idea. Hey, Chris, maybe is there some way AI can help us with this? And so we sat down and so she kind of had some very noisy outside. We had some discussions about, what are some of the workflows that you follow and what are the things that you're looking at? And I asked her to write it all down. And then essentially I said, right, well, let's take that as a specification and then we'll turn that into Gherkin code as far as, the things that we're looking for on the website and the things that should be there, the things that shouldn't be there. And then throw that at Playwright MCP server that will then go in and look at our website and check the things, whether they're accessible or not, take some screenshots, highlight things, and then give us a report at the end of it. So that's quite cool. And so what I did with that, so I'll kind of spare you the details, but I built MCP server into this based off a thing called the Quack, which is another a website accessibility tool, which the DIA has made. So I've wrapped that tool in an MCP server, and I've kind of deployed that wrapper inside this plugin that I've made, and along with some of the workflow that Di follows. And so what that looks like is when you want to install a plugin, I don't know if any of you have tried, but you simply come down into Claude Co-work in this case, and you go add a plugin, and then you can add your own, right? So I've got this marketplace, and I can show you what that marketplace looks like. It's literally just a JSON file, and then you can manage the plugins that you've installed within the marketplace. You can see I've got a couple of other plugins here, and this has all of the various functions or skills actually that plugin can do. And the nice thing about this is that you can update the plugins just with a single click, and so that's quite handy. So the plugin files are just there. They're there in Claude. They're sitting there kind of in the background. There's no git cloning. There's nothing going on. It's just there, which is quite cool. And so when you want to invoke any of those skills, you can type the / commands, and it will show you what commands are available within your plugins. So in this case, we can just do a scan. Let's go with a normal visual scan, and we'll do it on, how about we do it on this page? Okay. And we'll see what we get back. So what that's going to do is it's going to go off and install all the dependencies that are required to make this work. So that includes Playwright. It includes a few other things that I can't quite remember right now, but that's okay. So we want to do a browser navigation. Okay, this is another cool thing that you may have not seen yet. This is where Claude takes over your browser. Here we go. We'll allow all the browser actions. Okay, so that's actually Claude in Chrome now, having a look at the website. And you can tell because it's got this little kind of orange glowing thing, so we know that it's driving at the moment. What are we doing? Oh, scrolling down. Having a look at all the things. So there is a number of use cases while it's doing that. Cool, it's in the full page. I'll just pull this over here while that's happening, and we can have a look at some of those use cases, see if I can remember. Nope, that's the wrong repo. I'll just open another dev pod. Cool, it's running the analysis. So while that's running, I'll just pull up another dev pod. I think I put it. Did I put it in this one? Maybe. No, it wasn't that one. It was a different one. Must have been this one.
How's your OpenClaw going?
My OpenClaw is not happening.
I just saw an OpenClaw dev pod in there.
Yeah, no, that was an attempt and it didn't work.
Yeah.
You need a Mac Mini 3, huh?
I've got a Mac Mini. I've got a Mac Mini 4. Yeah. You can do it. I'm not doing the claw thing. I thought I'll give it a go and it didn't work, so I thought got better things to do.
Yeah, I haven't hit go on mine yet.
Right, so what I'm actually looking for is not what we're looking at there. So it's just still doing the report. So I'm sorry if I'm fluffing around, but I'm just looking for something interesting to show you. Was it the scripts thing? Was it the skills? Was it the tests? Card detection. Where did it put it? Oh yeah, here you go. So here is some Gherkin code. So Gherkin code, if you're not familiar, is kind of a useful and very easy to read way of having structured instructions or requirements written sort of as a business analyst. So this is what it's actually doing when it's running these tests through on the website checker. It's actually doing this kind of running through the Gherkin code. Okay, here we go. The visual pattern scan is complete. Here's what was found. No heading, like card, blah, blah, blah. It's run through the things and then it's given us a report. And so just a little bit more about Co-work. What Co-work is, you can think of it like Claude Code, but there's no repo. The repo essentially is just giving access to a folder on your computer. So it's got file system access. And so anything that Co-work is going to do, it's going to output it to that location on your computer. And in this case, it's given us a report and it's saved it on the computer. And so here's our report. How's the website looking? Visual pattern scan report. There is no heading like elements lacking semantic markup, no card like navigation patterns, blah, blah, blah. So this is all stuff that's interesting to an accessibility person, and that's great. So what I wanted to show you was just to recap. It's really easy to develop a plugin. All you need to do is ask Claude to make the thing that you've built a plugin, and then essentially Claude can kind of become your operating system for whatever you've built. You can run it inside there, and that's cool. The files that it's made, actually, I'll I should be able to bring them up from in here. If I minimize that, you do get, sorry, Carolina, you do get the list of the files, and you can see here under users, Chris projects, blah, 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 the files there. And yeah, cool. That's Claude Co-work and plugins. I will stop sharing now. Where has my screen gone? Am I still on the call?
Yeah, you are on the call.
No, you dropped off.
The screen's silent.
It's maybe on your iPhone.
Cool, guys. Well, it's been an hour and a half. We've seen a bunch of things, and it's been fun. If anyone has anything else they'd love to share, we can do this again in a few weeks' time, or maybe a month, depending on interest. We should probably get have a real face-to-face again. It's been a while.
Yeah, agree.
Maybe we'll get you down to Wellington, eh, Mark? I think it's your turn.
Yeah, why not?
That sounded very non-committal.
Well, you can swim when you beat. You can swim when you're in the water now, so that's good.
Can you? Oh,
Apparently, Andrew. Little
It's only
can
8
swim.
degrees, but
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording, and if anyone wanted to keep talking, you're very welcome. But I will be stopping the recording. Yay! See you next time.